All right, ladies and gentlemen of the 118 scale, 3.75 inch, 4-inch modern action figure community, I am back again with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing none other than the OG Robert Graves, as known as codename Grunt. So if you're unfamiliar with this setup here, this is a retro Gi Joe action figure released only a few years ago, and this is a homage to the original run of the 1982 line of Gi Joe figures. Grunt is an OG. He is one of the original action figures of the Gi Joe line, and that just goes to show that they've decided to pay some homage to that original line of figures. So what we have here is it looks very similar to what was released back in that day. However, they've removed the real American hero from everything, so you're not going to see that. The Grunt figure looks okay. We'll get in there and get a look at him. If you look at the back of the packaging, you'll see how it's updated here. Now, I really don't like what they decided to do with the file card. Myself, as many of us Gi Joe collectors and those who love these as children, it was awesome to get that comic or that file card here. I'm again calling them comic cards. The file card. It was awesome to read up on your action figure and to learn a little bit about his history and what he's been doing. So, I mean, that's a disappointment that they decided to go with this participation trophy type of deal where every language is represented here. Now, they could have went with an original card or file card rather, but they decided to do it like this. But let's just keep in mind, Hasbro, for future references, anybody can read a file card, and it doesn't matter what language it's in. Anyone can read it due to apps, due to friends. You can ask your friend to read it for you or whatever, But ultimately, we don't have to do that. Hopefully, we won't see that in future figures coming. I like that they represented these figures from this particular retro series here. I remember getting these figures back in the days, and I would keep this card just so I can look at all the other figures that were out there. I probably more than likely was never going to get any of them, but it was cool to see them, and So across the top, we can read a little bit about him here. He's an infantry trooper. Primary specialty is infantry. Secondary specialty, small arms armor, artillery coordinator, birthplace Columbus, Ohio. There's the other languages there that you get. So an infantry trooper, why can't I say that? An infantry trooper is pretty much a soldier on the ground. He's the gunner. He's on the ground in the trenches, and he's going head up. He's got the gun in his hand. He's got his assault rifle, and he's pretty much fighting that battle on foot. So, of course, you know me by now, and I'm going to be opening that. So, got him off of the card, and this is pretty much your card art for him. Look at that Hasbro sign, just like the ones when I was a kid. It reminiscence of the one when we were kids. GIJoe.com. There you have it. Awesome. Now let's take a look at Mr. Robert Graves, aka Grunt. Off the rip, something that we never got in our original Gi Joe figures is this little piece of paper. Let's see what's on it. Pretty much a bunch of different warnings in different languages, a lot of different languages, and just a bunch of copyright stuff, and you know, again in some languages. Awesome. So let's remove Mr. Graves from his plastic backing here. This is what he looks like. Look at that face. I like the way they did the face. They really took their time to paint the eyes in properly, and I really like that. That's cool. That's awesome. I'm not a big fan of those lips, those really pouty lipstick lips. Not a fan of that. Anyway, he looks like he has red hair. Should have been more brown, but here you have his uniform. He has his web gear. Web gear is done really nicely. He has a little water bottle there. He has his holster. Has some grenades. Looks like a little sleeve for his knife, which I've used that little section right there to put a knife in before, and it was very difficult. So let's see if that's changed on him. But I'll tell you off the bat, there are some differences in the way that he is tooled. So if you look right here, he has a swivel on his leg right here, which other modern figures do not have. He also has a swivel at his boot top. He's not as rubbery as some of the other figures that were released. He's actually done fairly nicely. And what I like about him also is if you wanted to, you can pick up a few of these and create a crew of green shirts. You know, swap some head sculpts and, you know, move on from there. Pretty cool. I like the way the skin on him is done. It's not painted. It's actually sculpted in that flesh tone color, and there's no paint on his skin. I also like the green laces on his boots. He's done pretty nicely. I like this guy. He does have like some kind of a thing on his leg there, but it don't bother me. It is what it is. It's kind of cool to just see figures back in the store again. All right, let's start looking at some of his weapons here to his loadout. First off, he has this flat green backpack. If you look, it looks fairly basic, but it is like a backpack that soldiers actually carried back then. I still see some guys walking around with bags like this, I guess from their past service. All right, next, he has a figure stand with his name on it. Let's see if we can get that to focus in. There it is, Grunt. And we've seen these before on many other figures. And we like when we get these because we can display our figures without them falling all over the place. You know, that is a huge point of contention in figure collecting. Next, we have his helmet, which is a plain flat green army helmet. It doesn't look like one that soldiers wore back then, but I mean, it works. It is the recreation of his original helmet. It has these ear holes. Maybe you can plug something onto that. I don't have anything to plug on it, but maybe it can. We'll have to see if I can find something that would bring this helmet to life a little more. And let's see if it fits his head properly. Fits perfectly, no hassle. Slip right on. Awesome. Next, we have his knife, dagger, or his combat knife, or these knives, the way they look with their serrated edges. And I always call these Rambo knives because that's like the first time I've ever seen one was on Rambo, and I always thought it was cool. But anyway, this is his combat knife, probably a dagger. Let's see if it actually fits into his web gear, into this place. Oh, it fits right in. Perfect. Very nice. The last knife I tried to fit into the web gear did not fit. It was a very difficult, so I didn't want to force it and break it, so I just never put it in. But this one on the Grunt figure actually works. Next is his sidearm, which looks to be a 45 ACP. Very nicely done. I really like that. Maybe some colors on this. I don't like how that part right there is so thick, but whatever. It is very nicely done. I've seen some worse guns released for figures, but this one is not one of them. I actually like this. Awesome. Let's fit it into his holster. See how that fits in. Perfect. Right on in there. Awesome. Last but not least, we have his M16, which is probably standard issue for the military back then, back in the 80s and 90s. Now they use a different weapon, but back in the days, this was their trusty weapon. And it looks very nicely done. Only thing I don't like about the modern figures is everything was cast in this very rubbery type of material. And one thing is for sure, I wonder if they use like a bunch of recycled materials to make these figures, and how long will they last before they start to break back down into the environment. That right there is a scary, especially for us. We collect these things. I keep mine in plastic, but if you collect them and you like to keep them on a shelf, maybe one day you might go to dust them off and might fall apart due to dry rot. Who knows? But anyway, that's the Grunt figure. I hope you like this video. Feel free to comment down below. I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience. And I appreciate you watching these videos. So with that being said, there'll be more coming. So other than that, let's just keep collecting. All right? Peace.